goal with this project was to play with these earth paint watercolors that I have. So I made these all myself. They are pigments that I purchased from a company called Natural Earth Pigments, and I created a watercolor base, which, gosh, I don't remember what was in it now, but it was like, I know there was honey in it. They have the recipe on their website. I used their recipe for a handmade, homemade watercolor base, and then I mixed the two together and put them in these little palettes. So these are all of my earth paints with the exception of these two over here. These two are, I got those in one of my unboxing boxes that I bought from Sketchbook, and I think they are, I want to say a charcoal, like a colored charcoal. I'll have to look back on my video and see what they actually are because I don't really remember. But they're really pretty. You can't tell here, but they're a really dark purple, like an eggplant, and a really dark indigo kind of blue. And so I just popped those in here to use as well. So I'm using my earth paints, and I'm keeping it kind of mixed media. So if I want to bring in any other inks, like I've got here, I haven't even tried these yet, but I'm going to bring in some inks. I have some little bits and pieces from a challenge I did years ago, like a 30-day challenge. So I've been cutting these up and putting them in as collage pieces within the journal. And what else have I been doing? Oh, I've just been using like pens or pencils. These are called Create a Color, and they are watercolor graphite. That's what this is. This is not charcoal, it's watercolor graphite. That's what that one is too. So these are pencils, and you can draw with them, but if you wet them, then they activate and they become like watercolor. So I've been using those. And then I've just been using a pen, a gel pen, and a pencil. Oh, and these. I love these. These are called gelatos. And they glide on kind of like a pastel. They feel like a soft pastel. And then they also activate when you get them wet. So I've been playing with those too. And these also. So that's what I mean by mixed media, is a bunch of different things. I got this little bag here that I've been carrying around along with these watercolor paints, and that's what I've been using in my 100 days. And I'm approaching it like a meditation. So each page is either a meditation that starts with watercolor and collage, and then I bring in a quote or some words, or I start the other way and I start with the words and then I paint around it. I've been playing around with both and just seeing, how it feels. And the really fun thing about it is that every day is so different. Our energy every day is so different. Some days we need lots of color and lots of layers, and then other days are really a little quieter and we need lots of space. And some colors are more bold and some days are more soft, and it's just been very interesting when you show up to a practice. I'm not going to say every day because obviously I haven't done 100, I haven't been on track, but when you show up to a practice regularly and kind of just allow what's going on to happen on your page and just kind of let it be what it is, and it's pretty cool. So let's flip through, shall we? So, and see where we've gotten so far. So one of the things that's very interesting, these are my first 2 pages. I started out really a little more restrained and kind of left a lot of space. And then you'll see as we go, like it just gets like fuller and fuller and fuller. So it's pretty funny. So these pages, I started with the art first, and then I added in the words. And this one on the left says, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And that was kind of where I was going with the feeling I wanted to have throughout this process. I wanted to really allow the painting to be a meditative practice each day. And then this one says, love so free that it lasts forever. That's a quote I've used before in some of my artwork. So some of these words are kind of just musings, and some of them are actually quotes by people. So not all of, they're not like all my words or anything like that. All right, and then we move to the next page. I think this was done in February, so I definitely was feeling the love. Love is the purest form of energy. Just playing with that. And this one I think is one of my favorite pages. In every walk in nature, one receives far more than he seeks. I believe that's a John Muir quote. I just love these luscious colors. And then I started to play with some collage. So this was the first spread where I decided to play with some collage elements. Yeah, the gelatos are really fun. We'll use them today on a page that we'll do. So I'll show you how they work. Thanks, Sarah. Sarah says, so pretty. This one says, those who wish to sing always find a song. And on this particular spread, so the other 4, I did the art first, and then I did a quote later. And on this spread, I swapped it. So I decided to put the quote down first and then work on the page. This one says, the energy of the mind is the essence of life. And then it has an I am. That was actually a sticker that I put in there. And then this one is breathe it all in, love it all out. And I started to play with some pen and stuff in here. And this one was something I wanted to be like super, so interesting how I wanted it to be really light and, kind of airy and breathy, but it ended up getting a little bit mucky. But you have to kind of let your energy, like whatever's happening that day, or sometimes, you just really got to let more out. And that can get a little messy. And this one says, protect your energy. I love this color palette too. I thought this was really quite a fun one. Live an artful life. This is creativity only knows hope because it's constantly looking for what's possible. This too shall pass. Set your soul free. And this one's got some collage elements. This is a marbled piece of paper that I did in a class years ago. A little feather. And the backstory on this one is I actually had a quote, I think it was underneath here. I don't remember if it was under here or maybe it's under the feather. And it just didn't write out well, like the pen didn't work well and just looked kind of a mess. So I ended up covering it up and changing it. And that's like the beauty of art, right? You know, like the idea that I had in the beginning just didn't work. And so this is what came through instead in my effort to cover up what wasn't working. And this one says, trust the magic of beginnings. And this one's got some gold watercolor on there. It's gold mica pigment watercolor. Kind of looks a little bit like the sea to me, like under the ocean. And on this page is when I started to, this is a piece of just a little scrap drawing I did that I had on my, what would you call it? Like your inspiration board for years. And I decided, oh, you know, maybe I'll just take some of my own little bits and pieces that I've got and add them to the page. And so that's what I did here. What we see depends mainly on what we look for. And that kind of started me on the path of using all my other little bits and bobs that I've created as my own collage pieces. Love is the water of life. Jump into this water. So this one I played with salt. I never really do that. I don't usually have salt like in my studio. But I know a lot of people love to use salt on their watercolor. And so that's what I wanted to do on this page. I just wanted to try it all out and used a lot of salt. So that's why I kept this kind of simple, and I wanted it to look like water, a little swirling. Not until we are lost do we begin to understand ourselves. So this is again another little collage piece of a little painting that I had done on an index card, and then I brought that in. I did the background and everything first and added the words after. Joy says, looks so cool. I know that salt is really neat. It's a really cool technique, and it's like one that so many people use, and I just never have salt around. So I was like, that's what I'm going to play with today. I think that's what's fun about doing things like this, right? You can always say, what do I want to do and practice or try, or what little bit do I want to, and you have this small little page, so you don't have to put a lot of time into it, but you could just get to play. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Take the moment and make it perfect. Colleen says, so absolutely beautiful, Kristen. You could take this straight to a publisher. Oh, that's really sweet. That's really sweet of you to say. Now this page, I did this when we were doing the neurographic art. We did that last month in our creative chat. We did a little neurographic art page. So that was where I was going with this one. I was kind of playing with that idea a little bit more. Your heart knows the way. Oh, this might be one of my favorites. You give life what you give energy to. I just love the expansiveness of this particular page and the sunflowers and all of the little leaves and stuff. And this one says, grow positive thoughts. And in the little leaves, it says, I am brave, I am enough, I am perfectly imperfect. And this one again, I had like some sketches in just a little like notebook, an unlined notebook. So I cut those out because these were already done previously. And I cut this one out and added it to the page. And then I let the page kind of form around it. And this one's a little sticker, but it's very cute because it says in there, I am, I am, I am, I am. So, you know, it's fun to combine like your own drawings with stickers and paint and words. Allow yourself to experiment. On this page, not really one of my favorites. It just sort of got a little funky, but I do love the quote. And sometimes, you know, like I said, some days are just kind of not that much. I like the gold on this one too, though. It says, how wonderful it is that no one need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. This one, this one I didn't even really have a quote, because what I did with this one is I had a bunch of words in the background talking about rivers and flowing, and then I think I just wrote like flowing down here. And this one's interesting because it turned out to be kind of a fun page, but it was beautiful. It was so, so beautiful. Just a watercolor page. And then I wrote all of these words on there, and it just didn't work. So I ended up just layering and layering, and it got a lot more heavy and mucky, but you know, kind of feels like river water. And then I added these little collage pieces in, and this was a little dragonfly drawing I did a long time ago. Didn't have all of the pen lines or anything in it. It was just watercolor, so I added some of those. But it ended up turning out to be kind of a fun page, but it really was like one of my favorite pages. It was so beautiful. And then I totally like got crazy on it. Well, sometimes that happens. This one I have more collage pieces, and I just wrote embrace. So it's interesting how this spread here didn't really have any quote going on. And that's okay, you know, could deviate from my own plan. And then this happened, and I was like, whoa, what's going on here? I think these are the last two I did. Yeah, so these are the last two. And this one I just decided to play with the earth paints and use this little gel pen on top, but I wanted to keep it simple. I decided to not do any collage work or anything on this page and just play, and I think this came out kind of fun. It's got kind of wonky, wild plant life inspired. And it says, I am flourishing. This one's incomplete, so I didn't finish this one yet, but that's where I left off. I might bring this little rabbit in here that I had done, and this is just like on an index card. I think the rabbit might be cute. We'll see. This one feels like Dr. Seuss. Yeah, it does. It's just got all of these wacky, like, plant life little things. I think it's pretty fun. Dr. Sauce. I knew what you meant. So I think I'll flip the page. So I've got this one that's not complete yet. It's just got a watercolor background started. And I have this one here, which is this sweet little sheep that I made on an index card. And then I made these little things a while back too. I just kind of cut them up and put them around the sheep in a very abstract way. And I did that on a few other pages. Like, I just kind of went through and picked out some of my older bits pieces to collage down randomly, just to give me like a little bit of a start on some pages. I think that was it. So maybe we'll work here. Maybe we'll work on this one. I have something new here too. I just bought this. So I've never used anything like this before. It's a calligraphy pen, but I have not been like super happy with using one of these on this thicker textured paper. And although this writes well, I was feeling like I wanted to try something a little more artsy, I guess. And so I bought one of these, and then I got these two inks to try. So I don't know. I don't know if I should try this with you guys on here. Like I said, I've never done it before, ever. So, not even tried it once yet. Let's think about these two pages. Jermaine says, I love the little sheep. Isn't it so sweet, that sheep? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I did just a few animals when I was doing my index card challenge. I did a sheep, I did that deer, and then I did the horse and the cow that we saw earlier too. And yeah, I was surprised at how they turned out, because I don't draw animals in this way very often. I think this one in particular has just like such a little sweet demeanor. We should adopt a sheep, says Bert, my husband. He's trying to get over to the pig rescue. Marianne has a thing for sheep. Yeah. And Colleen says, I love the cow. I know, the cow is super cool. I thought the cow came out really neat. Let's play with this little gelato, because it kind of goes with this sheepy color. And you just kind of turn it up like you would like a lipstick or something. It's got a little twisty at the bottom. And then you can just use it like a crayon or a pastel. And most of the time I tend to do 2 pages at a time, because it's just nice to work in the spread. And you'll see, like, you can smear it with your fingers if you want to. And then I'll take a watercolor brush and some water. Just dip that in, and then you can roll over. And depending on how much water you want to use or how much pressure, you can either have your little drawings kind of fade and pick up that color, or you can just use a little bit, and so it kind of blends, but it doesn't go away entirely. You could still see your texture. You know, just like a slight blending. This was one of the lighter colors, but you can see how you can really blend it and pick it up and move it around the more water and the more pressure that you add. And now these are the earth paints. This is the aquamarine blue. It's a pretty luscious color. Now you can paint along to some soft, relaxing music to really get into that meditative state. Or you can paint very quietly and in silence and just let the movement of the colors and the materials be the thing you focus on. What color should we bring in with this little sheep? I feel like turquoise would be pretty. As you can see, I am using up my turquoise. I need to make some more turquoise. Shocker that this is one of the first ones to be down to the nitty-gritty. Yeah, I like how that color kind of picks up this color over here. And so if I don't add words first, I do kind of think about, is there a space happening? Like maybe this little spot here might be a good one for a quote, or maybe this little spot here, or maybe along the line here. So while I'm working, if I didn't add any words yet, I might think about if a spot is opening up, that seems like a good place for words to be added. Aw, Sandra says, I'm enjoying sketching to your soothing voice myself. So those of you that know me in person, does this sound like me? Like, do I sound like myself? I ask because we pulled up one of my videos the other day, on YouTube, and my kids were like, that doesn't even sound like you. I'm like, it doesn't? I feel like it does. It was one of my jewelry tutorial videos. Sarah says I sound so much calmer. I do think I am calmer when I do projects like this, because it calms me in the process. So when I'm working in my sketchbook or on an art project with you guys on video, like that, it does calm me. Bert was saying that I had my telephone voice on, but I think it was because it was like the beginning of one of my Softlex videos, and I'm talking about our sale, or I'm talking about, new products, and it was pretty funny. He's like, that's your telephone voice. I don't know how the gold will show up on camera. Let's see. Oh, maybe this would be pretty. You guys know I love blues and greens and yellows. Maybe this will be pretty. I'm going to switch my relaxed, yes. Yeah, it's a meditative practice to paint. For me, it definitely brings me into that space. Joy says, kids hear the mom voice. Yeah, right? I'm sure, yeah. It's, and that is something probably pretty funny to think about, is that in different situations and in different contexts, we do sound different because we are different parts of ourselves, right? Not always the same version or same part of myself in everything I do. It doesn't mean it's not me. It's just a different version of me, a different aspect. Just as it is for you. So right now what I'm doing is, after I did those little dots, I had some paint kind of blend there. So then I said, ooh, that I liked that. So when you put wet on wet, two different paint colors, they kind of blend and merge together. So then I was looking for, oh, where are other spots where it's still wet? You know, right here is still wet. So let me add a little bit of yellow in there and let that, and over here is still wet. Let those blend. What's this little sheep got to share with us? What kind of message do you think this little sheep wants to tell us? Such a sweet little face. So these colors are quite dark for the most part. I don't know if any of them really go. Maybe this one's okay. This one's like a dark blue. It's called Aquagraph Blue. And it looks like I've used this one a lot. So let me sharpen this one. Follow your heart. That's a nice one, Marianne. That's a nice message. I don't know what sheep energy is. I don't think I've ever looked that one up before. What kind of energy do sheep bring? They provide us with wool, right? So they provide us with wool and warmth. Just gave that a nice sharpen, and so you can use this a couple different ways. You can use it on dry, so it'll just work like a pencil, and then you can wet it to activate it, or you can write right into wet parts like I have right over here, and just let it just glides when you write on wet. Let's see if I have any other wet areas. This one's a little bit wet. And I'm holding it like super loosely, and even twirling it a little bit, just to get a very, very loose line. Oh, sheep mantra is for the good of others, Colleen says. Oh, that's perfect. Thanks for looking it up. I was hoping somebody would. For the good of others. You know, you could kind of combine those two. Follow your heart for the good of others. I think that a lot of people feel like when you follow your heart, you might be being selfish and not thinking about other people. And I kind of beg to differ, because I feel like when you follow your heart and do what is best for you, like that ripples out to other people, right? Like you can be the best version of yourself when you are doing what you love. Maybe I'll try and combine those. So I left this little space right up here to do some writing in. And I think I did get some paint on my hand. But that's all right. If I smear paint, I smear paint. Oh, pen, don't fail me now. Let's see if I can get it. Maybe I'll write in pencil, because the pen just didn't quite do it. Follow your heart. For the good of others. Ooh, I like that. And now I could take my brush with some water again and kind of go on top of these lines that I created with the pencil and just give them a little more activation. Did you know, I didn't know this till recently, but if you put water on top of pencil, that it seals it in. I always thought it was strange how some artists would sign their work in pencil, because I felt like, well, wouldn't that just disappear? Like, wouldn't you be able to rub it off? And then I read that if you were to take water and go over the pencil, that it kind of seals it in. Isn't that cool? All right, I don't know what this one's telling me yet. Not sure if this side is done, but I think this side's done. I love to see what you're all working on. So if you're working on something, if it's anything creative, it doesn't have to be painting or drawing. It could be any creative arts. Feel free to share it. and talk with us about it in the group. We'd love to see it. Bye, everybody.